Hello and welcome. This is our weekly review program that brings to you major events over the week as usual. And I'm Gomechisa Mandira along with my colleague Brahanet Adessa will bring the major events over the weekend. We would like to say to you, stay with us.
Good to have you here. It's
Yeah.
been a wonderful week.
It has been a wonderful week.
Yes. And we've heard a lot of stories.
Yeah.
And we picked some of the stories for this week. Just
Yes.
to introduce, we'll begin from the housing development in Addis Ababa.
Yeah.
And next to that one, we'll go to second phase of corridor. And when we finish that, we'll of course talk about the Ethiopia and Tanzania agreements. Yes.
That's good.
Right.
That's good. Well, Brahana, I just would like to start with an interesting topic, which is Ethiopia introducing its wonderful coffee to the world, and in this case, of course, Algeria especially, and of course there is Algeria's leading coffee importer, and they are Femoka Coffee. So the Ethiopian delegation, was in Algiers over the week to introduce the coffee. Ethiopia has been, of course, in a very strong relation with many African countries. Of course, we can say it has had, cultural ties with Algeria for quite too long. But in this case, Ethiopia wants to have, this tie to include also economic ties as well. And I think this is, an interesting thing. And I just wanted, to make this our highlight before we just proceed to our main point.
Yeah, everybody loves coffee, so it would be a very nice thing to start with coffee.
Exactly, and Ethiopia's coffee, with unmatched quality, rich flavors, and I think Ethiopia is working towards introducing its coffee to the international market, especially by using its diplomatic ties with nations in the world, and that is an interesting thing that took place over the week. And okay, shall we go to our first agenda?
Yes. Let's go to developmental projects in Addis.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good one to start with.
Yes. Brahana, of course, Mayor Addis Ababa mentioned this week, the Piazza, Arat Kilo, and many other development projects in Addis Ababa, the Mexico, the Bole. And what's common, with these projects is that, connectivity in the city has been enhanced and the traffic flow has improved a lot. And we can see that, just Addis Ababa is becoming, cleaner on a daily basis. And Mayor Adanich said that, congestion has been, of course, a big problem in the city. And many residents in Addis Ababa are enjoying the positive impacts of the corridor development project. And if you look at places like Mexico, for instance, we used to have congested traffic there, but now both vehicles and pedestrians have freer space just to move from place to place.
That I witness. Even most of the time I walk around these places, including Mexico and the Piazza, and especially in the evening, it looks so different. It looks so special. So it will be one of the places to visit, especially if you can have enough time to visit in the evening. It really shows you a lot.
It does. It does. Well, the other thing is, of course, Piazza and Arat Kilo, as we know, they are historic. And of course, civilization in Ethiopia, we can say, began in these spots of the city. And of course, tourist attractions and tourist destinations are really being developed by the corridor development project at Piazza and at Arat Kilo.
Talking about cities, according to the Mayor Adanich Abebe, she said, today we have been visiting about 13 roads covered and about 10.2 kilometers. One of our aims while doing this corridor development project is creating connectivity. That's the major point.
Exactly. Connectivity. Of course, following, just the connectivity, the traffic flow has been, very much improved. And if it was not, for the corridor development, well, we wouldn't have, such traffic flows. And clean city. Have you seen, for example, the Bole Road, the Mexico, even Piazza and Arat Kilo? These places are, of course, under building. They are under construction. And of course, the corridor development project has extended to many other places, and the same impact is expected, just to come out of it. If you just go to Kilo and beyond, well, the roads are being constructed, and there is 24/7 work underway, and people are also, of course, cooperating, especially those along the road, households along the road that need to be kind of modified in some way. The people, the residents, are really willing to cooperate with government, with the government, to allow just this corridor development project. And this is a very important thing, and mobilities of both pedestrians and vehicles has been enhanced a lot. Yeah.
I think we have a video of the mayor of Addis Ababa. We'll take a look at that one.
Today, we have been visiting about 13 roads covered 10.2 kilometers. One of our aims while doing this corridor development projects is creating connectivity. The second one is facilitating traffic flow. The third one is making our city clean. Another aspect of the project is to build parking terminals that will solve the problem of the existing problem. Currently, many services are being developed with the help of terminals. As the population continues to grow, we are focused on long-term planning.
ብዙ ታሪካዊ ጉዳዮችን እናገኛለን መሰረተ ልማቶችን ፒያሳና አራት ኪሎ ላይ
There are historical parks in Piazza and Arat Kilo areas. We can say that the area is the center of civilization in Ethiopia. The park is being renovated, creates another options for tourists and are being built with quality and modern infrastructure. Piazza has also seen the development of new residential and commercial buildings, and we have added pedestrian walkways to make it safer and more accessible for our citizens.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Addis Media Network, and this is our weekly review. I'm Brian Sadasa. With me, Gamachisa Medida is here, and we're talking, of course, about the housing development, the corridor development mostly. And you mentioned earlier about the speech we heard of the mayor of Addis Ababa, Mayor Addis Ababa, and saying there are historical parks in Piazza and Arat Kilo, as you mentioned them. And she said we can say that the area is the center of civilization in Ethiopia, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yes.
Absolutely it is. And it is becoming, a very good model for places both in the capital and elsewhere in the country.
Yes.
And cities, in Ethiopia are drawing lessons from the corridor development project that has been taking place, in Addis Ababa, and especially in the second phase of the corridor development project, the fruits are really being observed by people. People are enjoying them, especially in terms of, mobility, in terms of, connectivity. A lot has improved in the capital, and people are enjoying. And the other thing that pedestrians especially mentioned over the week is that previously, when we before we commenced, this corridor development, car accidents used to be prevalent in the city. But now, because of these wide pedestrian sidewalks, well, these kind of accidents have been minimal.
Sure.
And this is really a very big success for our city and for our country. Mayor Adanich, over the week mentioned a partnership between the private sector and the government in order to address housing problems in Addis Ababa. Especially, she mentioned of, this Ovid Galangura. This company, intends to build as many as, 60,000 houses or housing units. And of course, the first phase has built, a couple of houses, and which are to be devoted for farmers who abandoned, just their land for this development project. And Mayor Adanich really appreciated, the involvement of the private sector in these kinds of projects, because there is a severe housing problem in Addis Ababa, and people have been, for example, saving their money to build houses, and building houses is not an easy thing to do, and despite, the city administration's efforts, to respond to the needs of the people, still, we have that gap, and these kinds of companies, play peculiar roles in addressing housing problems in the capital. And of course, Mayor Adanich appreciated, the efforts put by Ovid company, and especially she, of course, paid an official visit to this site, and she said that standard houses will be built there, and of course, the first beneficiaries will be, just these farmers who abandoned, their land. And of course, she said these farmers will not be relocated to other places. Rather, they'll be, made to live, just in that specific place which they owned before. Yeah,
they would remain there.
They would remain there.
I was actually very surprised when you did the story, and it is quite amazing. And you were about to invite us one of the speeches made by Mayor Addis Ababa.
Exactly. Yeah. Viewers, let's watch what Mayor Addis Ababa has remarked on the site.
አሁን የምንገኝበት ሳይት ከኦቪድ ጋራ በግልና በመንግስት አጋርነት የምንገነባውን ቤት ነው 60 ሺህ ቤቶች ናቸው እዚህ የሚገነቡት
This is Ovid Galangura city site where 60,000 housing units will be built in partnership between the city administration and the private sector. The first round of construction will provide houses for farmers who abandoned their land for the site. We ensure that the farmers will live in standard houses. We always give priority to them, including those who had to leave their places for development at the center of the city.
Viewers, we're back. Brahana, what else do you have on this?
Yeah, we were still talking about the residents in Addis Ababa.
Yeah.
And the remarks we saw, of course, about the second phase corridor.
Yeah.
And it's not only limited in Piazza, Arat Kilo.
Yes.
We even saw it around Bishoftu and went also to Hawas as well. So it's going all around the country, and hopefully we'll see many developments before the end of the year.
Exactly.
Because we all deserve to have beautiful housing. Yeah. We all deserve beautiful urban areas as well. So this is part of the development we are observing, of course. Yeah. And of course, this plays a promising role in speeding up daily activities as well, as we already talked about that.
Yes, the government of Ethiopia is encouraging people, to purchase electric vehicles, and of course, companies are also into importing electric vehicles, and we also have, assembly plants in the country that assemble electric vehicles.
Nice.
And one thing that has been mentioned to be a challenge is, charging stations for electric vehicles.
That is quite challenging, yes.
That's challenging. So what do you have on this?
Yeah, I was even talking to somebody who had a car, the electric car. It was quite amazing, by the way. The comfort you have there feels like you're at home.
Yeah.
So the only thing he was complaining about was the places to charge them. It was very difficult to find them everywhere, but I saw somewhere around Piazza that they began having this kind of places for charging. So you would easily charge them and then fly wherever you want.
Yes. Especially if you take, Magananya Bole Road, there are charging stations, charging spots for electric vehicles, to charge. And of course, at Theatros Square, the mayor said that, there is a building that is underway, and of course it will have 3 basement floors, and it is equipped with, charging equipment. So that will allow, 25 automobiles, to be charged simultaneously at a time.
Nice,
And that shows, the government's commitment to enhance the use of electric vehicles in the country.
Our next story, of course, we've had stories before this, including the corridor development and many other stories. And the next one will take us, of course, directly to Ethiopia-Tanzania.
Exactly.
And there's been a joint ministerial commission meeting
Yeah.
And would love to hear your ideas there.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Ethiopia and Tanzania, there are many things, just that these two countries, share. And of course, the first one is these two countries fought, colonial powers, back in the years. And in 1961, when Tanzania, of course, ensured its independence, Ethiopia was also fighting, alongside Tanzania. And the leaders of the two countries, have always been together in the fight, against colonialism. They, had, the same motto against colonialism in general. And this tie between the two countries has grown a lot throughout the years, and in recent years especially, that has grown to the level of enhancing their economic ties. So we have trade, for example, investment, import-export trade, especially between just the two countries. And recently, we just had a ministerial meetings. So these border control missions, have been done by military experts of just the two countries. We can talk about military training that has been taking place between the two countries, and we can say the two countries also share rich heritage and traditions. And so there has been people-to-people ties between the two countries.
It's true.
And these two countries want to of course, heighten, just their relations to some level, and this has to be done, in many aspects. Of course, that involves, for instance, trade, tourism, educational cooperation, and many others. And so this week, the foreign ministers of the two countries met in Addis Ababa, and of course, both ministers, have given remarks regarding their relationships. So do you have anything to add on this?
Yeah, especially when we talk about this joint relations, and we can remember the cultural relations we have between Ethiopia and Tanzania, and that is something to be remembered as well. Because Ethiopia and Tanzania share a deep respect for the rich heritage and traditions in between, and the people-to-people interaction as well. And they have helped deepen bilateral ties there because of this culture as well. So we can mention some kind of the vibrant cultures there. And Ethiopia, of course, known for ancient civilizations, mostly mentioned over 3,000 years of civilization. We can also talk about the historical landmarks there and diverse ethnic groups as well. And while Tanzania is famous for its wildlife, which is widely known in Africa and globally as well. And we can also talk about the coastal beauty and, of course, the Swahili speaking population as well. I heard you saying some of the Kiswahili words before the studio, and you were saying habari, and I almost said mzuri there.
By the way, I have friends, from Tanzania who have been in Addis Ababa for quite too long. And I really attended, just their kind of, get together. And they just wanted to make, this Kiswahili, one of mostly spoken languages in the whole of Africa.
It is.
And of course, they just wanted, to bring, they want to bring, that situation, to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia in general, and many Ethiopians have been attending, Kiswahili classes, and I've really made, some friends with Kiswahili speaking. Well, of course, I wouldn't say I've taken, enough steps, for learning Kiswahili, but I intend to do that.
Possibly next time.
Maybe, So it's a language, just that can bring, Africans and in general Africans together. And that is, a language that also incorporates, say some items, vocabulary items from other languages as well. So Kiswahili is, a language that easily incorporates with other languages. And that's really interesting.
It's true.
That's interesting.
And it's one of widely spoken languages in Africa.
Exactly.
And having over 200 million speakers.
Exactly.
And that's a big number.
Yeah.
The first Ethiopian and Tanzania Joint Minister Commission was, of course, held in Addis Ababa, in our capital city.
Yes.
And they signed this MOU to cooperate on trade, industry, aviation, migration, of course, the tourism as well.
Yes.
So in his opening remark, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, Gideon Timotheus, highlighted the meeting as a key step in strengthening the historical and solid ties between the two nations. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs emphasized the historical significance of Ethiopia and Tanzania in the Pan-African movement, and there, of course, there are strong bilateral relations, particularly at the leadership level. And he called for enhanced economic cooperation between the two countries, and the minister also stressed the importance of collaboration on shared regional and bilateral interests and leveraging opportunities like that of the African Continental Free Trade Area and to benefit both nations.
Yes. Tanzania's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mohamed Thabit Kombo, on his part said that the two countries, need to work to enhance, connectivity. Of course, he mentioned the fact that, the two countries should avoid, the requirements of visa, as I mentioned earlier. And he said especially the business communities of the two countries should be allowed, more access to entry to each country. And this, he said, will enhance the trade relations between the two countries. And of course, it will keep, just the level of the relationship between the two countries to the next level, to a higher level. The level will be, heightened by taking, just these measures. So, of course, the 6 memoranda of understanding have been, signed when this meeting, just came to a conclusion. So, of course, the MOUs involved, trade, industry, aviation training, tourism training, livestock, and migration. Now, we can see that, they will create, wide opportunities for the business communities in the two countries. And I think the two countries have really heightened, just their cooperation because we can see that more things than ever are involved, in these MOUs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we're talking about relations, and we're not going to stop in only Ethiopia and Tanzania relations. And that's why you heard me saying bonjour, ça va, because we're going to France directly.
Yeah.
And the relation between Ethiopia and France relation is really going well.
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
And of course, you can mention the mayor of Addis Ababa, conferring with the newly appointed ambassador of France to Ethiopia, Alex Sloman.
Exactly. Well, earlier when we discussed, the corridor development project, we can see that it has reached, the second phase. And this second phase, what makes it different from the earlier phase, is that, more part of Addis Ababa will be involved in the second phase. And of course, experiences are already drawn from the first phase to be implemented in the second one. And that involves, more effort, more finance, more energy, etc. And the support by France's ambassador to Ethiopia, or in general...
representing his country.
Exactly. The support of France to this kind of development is really crucial. It is important. And this, of course, our city, Addis Ababa, has kind of established, ties with cities in France, French cities, and that will give, Addis Ababa, of course, the opportunity to utilize, the support it can have from France. And this is a very good opportunity for Addis Ababa.
Yes. And one of the things we can mention will be the relations there between Ethiopia and France. And as we are already trying to mention, the mayor of Addis Ababa, Mayor Adanej Abebe, said on her social media post that she has discussed with the ambassador on the bilateral relations between the two countries based on the principles of cooperation and mutual benefits, of course.
Exactly.
And as well as the French government's support for the developmental works happening in and out of the city.
Yeah.
Yes.
France is not new to supporting Ethiopia in many ways.
Yes.
Well, we know the Addis Ababa Djibouti train, well, in the 19th century,
Yes.
it was, of course, mainly, built by France. And, throughout the years, leaders of the two countries have continued, just their strong ties. And on many issues, the leaders have discussed, issues. So they've been, just together in this endeavor, in many endeavors, of course.
Yes.
And France is not new to Ethiopia in providing, such supports to develop, its infrastructures. And I hope this will continue further.
We hope so, yeah.
We hope so, yeah.
So the main points we were talking in our weekly review have been, of course, talking about the housing development in Addis Ababa and the second phase of corridor and Ethiopia and Tanzania agreement. Of course, finally, we talked about the Ethiopia-France relations as well.
Exactly. Of course, one thing that I would like to mention is over the week as well, Mayor Adanich has paid a visit to the Lideta housing project. And there she just said that, of course, the Ethiopian government and particularly the Addis Ababa city administration is working towards providing, solutions to the housing problems in Addis Ababa. And that is, expected to benefit people, residents, and so the government is engaged in housing development in partnership with, the private sector. The government and the private sector are, just they collaborate because it is only when the two come together that housing problems, can ease in the capital. So this is what we have for today, Brahana. Yeah.
Kamish said it's been a wonderful time with you.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll be back next week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brahana.
Appreciate it.
Viewers, you've been watching our weekly review program that brought a variety of issues that took place over the week. And we would like to say thank you very much. And next time we'll come up with other issues. Until then, goodbye.